Les, call the roll, please.
Case.
Here.
Jadish.
Here.
Evans. Kasserag. Leidig. Here. Mead.
Here.
Slivka.
Here.
Stevenson. Stocking.
Here.
Quorum.
Okay. Next item is approval of the agenda.
Move to approve.
Second.
Moved and seconded, all in favor?
Aye.
Against? Okay, approval of the minutes of April 12th, 2018.
Move to approve.
Second.
Seconded, all those in favor?
Aye.
I'll defer to you.
Opposed? Okay, item number 5 on the agenda is public hearings. First item is A, Fabyan Crossing PUD amendment, request for amendments to the Fabyan Crossing Plan Unit Development, approved freestanding signage regulations established under Ordinance 2017-10. The location is Fabyan Crossing, northwest of Fabyan Parkway and South Randall Road intersection. The applicant is Craig Whitehead of the Crown Group. I'll read the Planning Commission procedures for this meeting. We now enter the public hearing portion of our meeting. It is the Plans Commission job to conduct these public hearings in order to receive testimony for and against petitions for general amendments to the zoning ordinance, zoning map amendments, zoning text amendments, special use, and amendments to special use permits. The agenda procedure will go as follows. First, the Planning Commission Secretary or designated representative will read or describe written items, reports, plans into the record. Second, the petitioner will present testimony in favor of the petition and will present any supporting plans or exhibits. Third, the commission members will have an opportunity to question the petitioner. Fourth, the commission will then receive citizen testimony both for and against the petition. Questions about the proposal may be directed to the petitioner or the petitioner's witnesses, and questions about the Plan Commission process itself may be directed to me. Following such testimony, the petitioner and the Plan Commission may ask questions of those who testified. Finally, the petitioner may provide a rebuttal to any testimony in opposition. When all the testimony is brought into the record, the hearing will be closed and the Plan Commission will make a recommendation to the City Council in the form of motion or motions. In order to give testimony, you must provide your name and address on the registration sheet located in the entrance of the hearing room and sign in the space provided. By signing the registration sheet, you agree that you understand that anything you say will be considered sworn testimony and affirm to tell the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth. When giving the testimony, please approach the lectern, speak directly into the microphone so that you may be heard. Please begin by stating your name and giving your address. If you speak additional times, please state your name each time for the record. Please be concise when presenting your testimony, and if your point has already been made, it is not necessary to repeat it. Each of these points is recorded and will be considered as the Plan Commission develops its finding of fact and recommendation or recommendations. You may provide your testimony in written form, but such testimony must be presented to the Plan Commission Secretary or designated representative prior to the close of the hearing. After the process is completed, everyone wishing to present testimony has spoken. The Commission will decide whether it has heard adequate testimony in order to make a decision. If it has, the public hearing will be closed. After the public hearing is closed, the Plan Commission will refrain from receiving any additional testimony either for or against the petition. There is one exception to this rule. City staff will submit a report based on the testimony presented at the hearing. This report will consider comments or concerns from all city departments such as the Fire Department, Public Works Department, or Engineering Department. At this time, I will administer the oath to those who have signed the registration form. Anyone wishing to give sworn testimony, ask questions, or cross-examine anyone giving sworn testimony, please stand or raise your right hand. Do you swear to affirm that the testimony you are about to give is the truth, the whole truth, and nothing but the truth?
I do.
You may be seated. Paul, the record.
All right. The contents of the file for the PD sign amendments is a project narrative submitted by the applicant on April 30th, 2018, a freestanding signage plan by NWS Architects dated March 30th, 2018, a memorandum and staff report from the Community Development Department to the Plan Commission summarizing the request and providing staff's analysis dated May 24th, 2018, a certificate of publication from the Daily Herald for a legal notice that was published on May 7th, 2018 for tonight's public hearing, and a copy of the notification letter and sworn affidavit stating that the notification letter was mailed to all property owners within 500 feet of the subject property.
Mr. Chairman, could I ask a question before we go
Absolutely.
further? Paul, maybe I missed it. Were there signs posted of the public hearing on the
Yes.
property? I must have missed them because I apologize if I
Should
didn't
be
see it.
3 of them out there. And actually, our intern, Jackie Navarez, went and one of them was leaning or something, and so she checked them even this
Okay.
week. So
Well, I
they've been
apologize.
out there since about May, the beginning of May.
Maybe if I drove a little slower, I could see them. Yeah.
Yeah. Racing through
All right,
town.
I'm sorry.
Okay.
Apologize.
All right, we'll hear from the applicant, please.
Hi, I think some of you have heard some of the background on how we got here. There was a lawsuit.
Could you state your name, please?
Oh, sorry. My name is Craig Whitehead with the Crown Group, 1564 West Algonquin Road, Hoffman Estates, Illinois.
Thank you.
In any event, there was a nasty lawsuit with our neighbors. And finally, when we decided,
Step back a little bit. Yeah, you're okay. You're good.
when we decided that we were going to lose our tenants if we didn't settle, we settled. And as part of the settlement, part of the negotiation was these signs. And although we were increasing the signs for all the tenants from 2 signs to 4 signs, and increasing the sign area for the tenants, because they were going to go from 2 signs to 4 signs, nevertheless, At Home and Best Buy decided that we couldn't shrink them on one side, or one sign, to add other tenants. We had to keep their size the same size. So going through that negotiation, finally getting through it, we had to compromise and give everybody their existing size signs on the sign. And that increased a couple of the sign sizes. Not the physical portion of the sign, but the sign part of the sign. So here we are asking for hopefully a reasonable variance to what was approved in the first place.
Okay. Any questions from the commission?
I just had one housekeeping question. In the narrative, I think provided by you guys, you talk about decreasing the sign at P4 from 214 to 107.
Yep.
In the table, it's listed as already being 107. Has it been reduced, or, and that's the lower sign, right?
Yeah,
On the corner.
actually,
Currently
that face is the same, but if you looked in what was approved, it was approved to be, you could put signage on both sides of the sign. So we said, well, I don't know if that was the intent, but we'll waive that.
Oh, so that, the
107
cutting in
was-
half from
yeah.
214 to 107.
Right.
Represents just those.
Correct,
That
just the front
one-sided
face.
sign.
Yes,
Okay,
correct.
that's all I had.
Yep.
The only actual new sign I think that you're creating is the one at Fabyan Crossing and Randall Road. Sort of
That one basically stays the same.
That one?
Yeah.
Okay.
Yes.
Okay, this is probably a dumb question, but, so you agreed to this before
Yes.
we agreed to this?
Yes.
In the lawsuit?
Yes.
How does that work exactly?
Well, it was either, we had to, you have to decide, make decisions in life sometimes, right? And so we thought the decision we made to settle the lawsuit had to be made, and so we made it. And then we knew we had to come back here and ask for permission. So if you denied us, then we'd have another big problem. And we might have to stop construction again, because trust me, it's just been so that's what we had to do. You don't like doing those things, but you don't want to lose we didn't want to lose a grocery store, we didn't want to lose Burlington, we didn't want to not do, anything, so.
Any other questions?
I didn't have anything.
What's your timetable for the stores to open, the new ones?
We are turning over the space to both Burlington and Fresh Time on August 1st. So everything will be done that you'll see by August 1st.
Okay, signs, everything.
Signs, everything. Now, I don't know if Burlington's sign should be on the front of their building in August. Burlington's going to open probably in the first or second week of September. Fresh Time, we turn over an empty space. The outside's all done, the parking lot's all done, the landscaping's done, the signage is done, the new roof's on, but they come in and build out their own space.
Right.
So they have 7 months per their lease to build out their space. So they plan on opening in January.
Okay. Okay. Very good.
But August 1st, it's going to be beautiful, everything's going to be done. So a couple more months.
Any other questions?
Just conjecturally, you have one vacancy left in the center?
Yes, we have,
This
young
one
man-
vacancy, I'm assuming if the fitness tenant gets in place, there's one more vacancy.
Yes, one more
Just-
vacancy.
Just below $10,000. Any prospects for that?
we do have one.
You might not be able to talk about it, so.
They were interested 4 or 5 months ago. They ran demographics. They decided that the demographics weren't what they expected for what they were doing.
Okay.
But we heard from them a month ago that they were back interested.
Okay.
So we're hoping that it comes to fruition. Tenants are a little harder to find these days than they used to
Absolutely.
be, as you know.
Absolutely. I personally think that this is one of the more exciting things going on in town. This, with the empty Dominick's and Gander Mountain, this had the potential to be the St. Charles Mall, the jewel site in St. Charles. And we're now going to have a vibrant shopping center with a diverse set of tenants that bring a lot of
A
people.
good mix,
into
turned
Geneva.
out.
Yeah, it's a good thing. Okay.
Just
any-
wish it were done already. Stuff happens.
Out of our control, or certainly cities. Any other questions?
Mr. Chairman, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Seconded. Wes?
Case,
Aye.
Jadish,
Aye.
Lighting,
Aye.
Mead,
Aye.
Slivka,
Aye.
and Stocking.
Aye.
Passes.
All right. You'll go to June 4th.
We just closed the hearing.
What's that?
We just closed the hearing. so
Oh,
We haven't made a vote.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to,
Sorry. I'm sorry. I always get mixed up on that.
We have to do 2 parts.
Yeah.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion and vote on this evening. Motion would be for approval for an amendment to the Fabyan Crossing Plan Unit Development for modifications to the approved freestanding signage regulations approved under Ordinance 2017-10, consistent with the staff report and subject to the findings of fact in the staff report.
Do you have a second?
Second.
Moved and seconded. Wes?
Case,
Aye.
Jadish,
Aye.
Lighting,
Aye.
Mead,
Aye.
Slivka,
Aye.
Stocking.
Aye.
Passes.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Okay. Second item on the agenda, request for a special use for a health and fitness club at 1900 South Randall Road, Suite 100, in the Fabyan Crossing Plan Unit Development. The location is 1900 Randall Road, Suite 100. The applicant is Scott Casper, Casper Law for SPENGA 3R Fitness Batavia LLC. Do you have?
Yep.
Can you read the record?
Contents of the file, a project narrative in response to the special use standards prepared by the applicant submitted May 1st, 2018. Site plan submitted by the applicant on May 1st, 2018. Building renderings prepared by NWS Architects dated June 8th, 2017. Floor plans prepared by Able Associates dated November 8th, 2017. Site demographics and traffic counts prepared by Able and Associates. We have a memorandum and staff report from the Community Development Department to the Plan Commission summarizing the request and providing staff's analysis dated May 24th. A certificate of publication from the Daily Herald for the legal notice that was published on May 7th, 2018 for tonight's public hearing, and a copy of a notification letter and sworn affidavit stating that said notification letter was mailed to all property owners within 500 feet of the subject property.
All right, very good. Mr. Casper, we'll hear from you.
May it please the commission?
Sir, name and address, please.
Absolutely. My name is Scott Casper, it's K-A-S-P-A-R, and I reside at 13940 Bunratty, that's B-U-N-R-A-T-T-Y Drive in Orland Park, Illinois. And I'm the applicant of the special use permit at issue tonight. and I thank you for the opportunity to be heard. As background about myself, I've been an attorney practicing for 15 years. I'm licensed in the state of Illinois, Iowa, Colorado, California, and before the United States Patent and Trademark Office. I'm also a product of this community, having grown up in St. Charles. I'm a 1994 graduate of the St. Charles, I guess the now St. Charles East High School. And my parents moved to the Tri-Cities in 1977. My father, Val Casper, is in the audience tonight. I have a wife, Beth Damas, it's D-A-M-A-S, who is an endodontist, root canal specialist. She practices here in Geneva, in the Williamsburg development. And she is at home tonight with our 2 children. I'm also the owner of 3R Fitness Group, an Illinois corporation, whose operating entity, 3R Fitness Batavia, LLC, is seeking to open a boutique fitness club called SPENGA at 1900 South Randall Road, Suite 100 in the Fabyan Crossing planned unit development. What brings us here tonight is I've applied for a special use permit under section 11-14-4F of the zoning ordinance to operate a health/fitness club in Suite 100. I'd like to take a couple minutes to tell you about SPENGA, which may be important to your consideration. SPENGA is an upscale boutique fitness club, and it combines elements of spin or cycling, strength training, including kettlebells and dumbbells and TRX bands, and also elements of yoga. A typical class is 60 minutes in duration, and it's usually 10 to 15 minutes of cycling, followed by 20 to 40 minutes of strength training, followed by about 10 minutes of yoga, which is like a cool down period. Some classes may just be 60 minutes of cycling or 60 minutes of strength training. What's great about SPENGA is it really is driven by the participants and their needs and desires. Class sizes are limited in number. They're intended to be small to provide individualized instruction. In this facility at Suite 100, we envision classes would be limited to 28 participants. That's based on the dimensions of the space, the square footage. Mr. Evans, I don't know if we can pull up
If you just scroll
SPENGA
down,
website.
if you take the mouse and just scroll down, you'll find your files there.
Oh, mouse. Sorry. Oh.
I'm sorry.
Aha.
It had hidden. What would you like to have of the exhibits?
Is there a, can we pull up the SPENGA website by chance?
Oh,
Does this have an
yes.
internet connection?
Okay, why don't you go on with your.
Sure.
And I'll pull that up for you. Is it just find SPENGA?
SPENGA.com.
Today. Yeah, that's right, I'm sorry. I should have talked about
Well, we'll go back to this. So currently there are SPENGA locations operating in Mokina, Downers Grove, Oak Park, Elmhurst, Glenview, as well as Denver, Colorado. There's facilities under construction right now, and this is actually a clip of a typical class here, and that shows a sort of a typical facility. This facility is in Glenview. It's a little bit bigger, about 1,000 square feet bigger. But it has a, that's the yoga portion. Actually, this clip right here is in Mokina, and this is a similar space. So they have the yoga portion, behind that is strength training, and in the very back is the cycling. Pause that. There's facilities currently under construction in Evanston, Ann Arbor, Michigan, Detroit, Michigan, Houston, Tampa, and then we have plans underway in Phoenix, Cleveland, Boulder, Colorado, and also Raleigh, North Carolina. In my application materials, I included a narrative that addresses how the proposed special use is consistent with the standards of the ordinance. I also note that Mr. Evans put together a staff report that analyzes each of these standards and concludes that the special use sought is consistent with the ordinance. Briefly, the Fabyan Crossing development is a large retail space, as you know, has over 1,200 parking spaces. It's been serving the community along those busy Randall and Fabyan corridors since 1995. And we're not seeking to change any of the existing structure or space. Mr. Evans' report calculates that we would need approximately 20 parking spaces at any given time, which is for the 28 participants plus 2 or 3 employees, which is a small percentage of the overall parking lot. SPENGA is also a natural fit for the Fabyan Crossing development, which is being remodeled, as you know, to include upscale stores such as Burlington and Fresh Time Market. Based on our experience with other SPENGA locations, we believe that patrons of Fresh Time Market are likely to be, and Burlington, are likely to be potential customers of SPENGA. We believe that actually helps address some of the standards, and that some of the same patrons arriving at the shopping center to visit Fresh Time Market or Burlington may also be visiting SPENGA in the same instance. That should decrease, but most certainly won't increase congestion in the area. In view of my remarks tonight, in addition to the application materials and Mr. Evans' staff report, I respectfully request that the commission grant the special use permit. At this time, let me have your questions.
Any questions? Yes, John.
Got a couple. Mr. Casper, I'm assuming you're a franchisee?
Yes.
Okay. And are you affiliated with some of the other ones in the Chicago area? Are you involved in ownership of those?
I'm not involved in ownership, no. I know the owner, though. He's a neighbor of mine.
Because you'd referenced we, but that's just the collective SPENGA we.
That's right,
I guess.
the collective we.
Okay. Secondly, and just one other question. I think it's your verbiage, you say our space will have 2 ADA compliant restrooms, each of which may include a shower. There's a space plan here. This might be a generic space plan, which would explain why there's not 2 locker room showers / okay.
Yeah, we are still working on the interior design. And right now, the most recent draft has 2 restrooms. One of them, I believe one of them, they each have 1 ADA compliant shower.
Right. Okay.
One may have 2 showers. It's
Right.
space consideration.
And I like the fact that you have 2 peak times, which makes sense for a health facility, early in the morning before people go to work or after work. The time, your first peak time of the day will be completely complementary to the center because nobody's at Best Buy, nobody's, all those other stores, nobody's open until 10. Your first wave is done, so you're really, for lack of a better word, competing for parking spots in the afternoon rush, so to
Right.
speak. So I think it's a good compliment.
Any other comments? Cindy?
Yeah. This is silly, but I had to mention it. If people who work at like Best Buy or at some of the other places there, if you work out before you go to work, you're gonna need a shower.
Right.
So I'm like, ugh.
That's why,
Otherwise, it could get kind of ripe.
That's why we do have those facilities. At other locations, there is not as much demand as you might expect. I don't know why that is. For instance, the locational park probably has the most shower usage, and it's because it's located on the Green Line in Oak Park. So people go there and then they go downtown to work. In most places around here, or in the suburbs just generally, people will go home and change clothes before they go elsewhere. I do agree, though, in this instance, they may just go straight to Best Buy, which is why we have facilities.
Mr. Chairman, I did have a question. Is there going to be any kind of childcare at your facility?
There's not childcare, because that gets us in the whole host of licensing issues. There may be a waiting room area,
Okay.
but it would not be a licensed childcare.
Well, I wasn't thinking license, I was more, mom brings the child with her, or the dad brings the child with him, needs a place that they can kind of hang out while
Right, so
they're
we
working
are-
out.
We are thinking of a small sort of TV room, I guess you could call it.
Okay,
But it would be, it's not necessarily supervised or a licensed daycare type
right,
environment.
okay. All right, that's all, thank you.
Yes.
So, sorry to use the O word, but I'm picturing Orange Theory, obviously, kind of I don't want to say spin-off, it's, what you guys are doing is a little bit different, but, just in my view, and we got the Orange Theory right up here off, I'm going blank on the street right now, but I've been there a number of times. My
On
wife
South
is-
Street, yeah.
Thank you, yeah, my wife's a member, maybe she'll switch now, loves it, but, yeah, to me, I think it would fit absolutely perfect in a spot like that. And Orange Theory is tucked in a much tighter spot, and even still, just the way you have X number
Yeah.
of people in, they're there for a set amount of time, and then back.
Yeah,
and
they're
right
very
back out.
busy early in the morning.
Yep, and then
Yeah.
same thing, then you have the late classes
Yeah.
as well.
So Orange Theory is probably the closest thing to a competition that we have. Interestingly, in the Orland Park area, there's an Orange Theory, and then the SPENGA it's in Mokina, but it's on the Orland Park Mokina border. We found that there are people who are members of both, which, to each his own, I suppose.
Well, one's heavily
We'll
based
take
on
them all.
rowing, and the other is the cycling, so, yeah.
Does SPENGA mean, does that word mean?
It's a coined word, spin, strength, and yoga, kind of wrapped up into one.
What's a typical class cost? Or is there a membership that allows you to take X classes a week or month or?
There's a monthly membership that's unlimited participation, and that's about $150, $160 a month. You can get passes, like a 10-pack to classes, and I think that breaks down to about $20 a session. So it actually makes, if you're going to use it, it makes sense to get a monthly membership. And that's I think comparable to an Orange Theory in price, should be.
And what would be, how many total people do you think ultimately will be members? Would you guess, a couple hundred?
The target is 400 to 500. I think in this area, we've run demographics that suggest 400 is a good number to get.
Any other questions?
Nothing further from me.
Nothing?
When will you be open, would you guess?
When will you give us the property?
90 days after I turn over the space?
There you go.
20 days?
That's correct, 90 days after,
So maybe by fall,
yeah.
September-ish. Right.
Okay. Thank you very much.
All right, thank you.
Mr. Chairman, I move to close the public hearing.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Celeste?
Case.
Aye.
Chadish.
Aye.
Leidig.
Aye.
Mead.
Aye.
Slivka.
Aye.
And Stocking.
Aye.
Mr. Chairman, I'd like to make a motion for approval for a special use for a health and fitness club at 1900 South Randall Road, Suite 100 in the Fabyan Crossing Plan Unit Development, subject to the findings of fact contained in the staff report.
Second.
Moved and seconded. Celeste?
Case.
Aye.
Chadish.
Aye.
Leidig.
Aye.
Mead.
Aye.
Slivka.
Aye.
Stocking.
Aye.
Passes.
All right, very good. Paul, when are you going to council?
June 4th, so have you ready for that. I'll give you some correspondence next week, probably.
Thank you. Thank
you.
you very much.
You bet.
Appreciate it.
I can give you a quick update on
Yeah, please.
the Delnor cases, both were approved, that we had for the surgery center and the parking amendment. The C-Tron, let's see, it passed, it's recommended unanimously from committee of the whole, but they're waiting some land negotiations here before taking it to city council, so that's where we're at with that one. And
property.
yeah, city and,
Okay.
yeah. And then, I don't have any plans pending right now for, whatever it is, June, I forgot to look, the next meeting in June. So, right now, it's pretty doubtful that we'll have that, possibly even the second one in June, we'll have to see. There are some things that may be able to go in fairly quick, but they have to come in soon, too. But we would expect, a Fabyan crossing, the outlot development in front of At Home is also part of that settlement agreement. So we know they're working on plans there. And then we're expecting the redevelopment of the Citgo on top of, at East State and Chrissy.
Oh, thank goodness.
Very good, very good.
So, yeah, so anyway, those are a couple things going on that we expect. But right now, a lot of people working on plans, but nothing in, so.
So what's the latest on the mill race?
The mill race was declared a landmark,
I read that, yeah.
which just means that it has certain protections. They have to go through the Historic Preservation Commission. It's not to say you can still request a demolition of a landmark, you just have to go through,
A lot of hoops.
Yes, you have to qualify, so.
Is
And
Shodine
they
gonna
look
do
for
that?
adaption, what's that?
Is Shodine gonna go through those hoops?
I don't know. I don't know what those are, so I think they're studying it, but that was, yeah.
And it's just for that little building portion up near
For the building,
38.
correct, correct.
like a
Yeah,
chimney
the
on the
whole,
side
it's
of
not
it.
a whole site, it's the actual,
Right.
yeah, so.
That,
Yeah.
So they're probably looking at options on that, so.
but I guess it's the original.
Yeah, see, if they do take it down and they don't want that old brick, I will, plant in the face of bar in my basements, I'll take it.
Take that, take that as part of that?
Absolutely.
Okay,
That's all I had,
That's
so
good.
unless
Great.
anybody had questions.
all right. Well, Brad,
Move to adjourn.
Mike?
Cool.
Hey.